There are very many people who have no idea how to budget. First of all, they feel it's very intimidating. Then they feel like a budget restricts them. They want to be able to enjoy their money as much as they can. But that's not the case, because you will realize that actually a budget gives you freedom. You're able to say no, you're able to say yes, and you're able to plan for things that we underlook, like giving, you're able to plan for things you love. You're able to plan for a vacation if you love traveling. You're able to plan for, date nights, if you're a couple. You're able to plan, even as an individual, if you're single, you're able to plan, for things that give you joy and greatest peace. So today we'd like to look at, why do we need to budget? And then also for a beginner, where can you start? What are some of the tools and resources that can help you on this journey? I worked for 14 years, but I had no idea how much money I made a year. And most of us are in that category. You have a paycheck at the end of the month. But if someone is to ask you, how much money do you make a year? You cannot say the number, because you're living day by day. You're living each month as it comes. But having a budget gives you this awareness. And because of that financial awareness, I was able to realize that I needed to increase my income, or else there was going to be no magic if I wanted to be able to accomplish my financial goals. So a budget does that. A budget is also important because it allows you to prioritize your spending. Because in any budget, there has to be a goal for investment, a goal for saving, as well as an expenditure goal on top of your financial goal. So every time you're taking money to do something that was not planned, it creates that awareness that I have to forego what was planned in order to take on something that was not planned for. If you find that it's hard for you to say no to things that keep coming, whether it's a wedding invitation or it is whatever cause it is, the reason could be is because your priorities are not aligned. And that's what a budget does. A budget helps you align your priorities. I do a yearly budget. So every month I know what I'm supposed to do, even before I get my paycheck. So if anything comes and it's outside what I have planned to do, then I'm making a conscious decision to either say yes to the unexpected and forego the planned, or I will say no to the unexpected and then be able to proceed with my plan. Now, I know some of you are thinking, does that mean that you become stingy? No, you don't become stingy, because in any budget, there has to be money for giving, or a certain portion that goes towards the unexpected. So budget is not restriction. See the amount of freedom you have. And the greatest freedom man has is the freedom to say no to what does not make sense to you, to what does not add value to you, especially if it does not align to your goals. Another thing that a budget does for you is it helps you reduce your debt consciously. In your budget, there is always a section for how you plan to pay off your debts. And imagine the greatest peace that all human beings seek is when you owe no one. They say be a debtor to no one but to love them. So if there is anyone you owe them money, you're running away from them, you're hiding, you've changed location, you're changing your numbers. All you need to do is to ensure that you have a plan on how you pay those debt backs to be able to gain back your freedom. Many times we like brushing things off and pretending we are immune. You have debts all over the country and you think it's okay. Actually, it's not okay. You're indebting yourself. You are in the greatest debt of yourself, even beyond the people who you owe money to. So having a budget helps you to reduce your debt because it gives you a clear plan on how you intend to pay those individuals back, but also on how to save for anything that is coming up in the future, that you do not fall into the trap of debt again. Another reason why it's very important to have a budget, it helps to improve the quality of your relationships. And like I already said, this ties back, some of the relationships go astray because of mismanagement of money, which might come in because of debt. And also sometimes people who cannot say no, they have resentment, So that resentment and bitterness can lead to strained relationships. But also, if you find yourself lacking clear set goals, this is where a budget comes in, because a budget will help you to be able to align your goals, especially your financial goals, by setting your priorities, by setting what is not a priority, what can wait, what is urgent, what needs special attention, and how can I be able to achieve the things that I've set out to do. So now that we have heard how a budget is very important, how can a beginner start? It can be very daunting and intimidating, but it shouldn't. Here are some of the ways that you can be able to develop your budget as an individual. Set clear and realistic goals. If you have debt, that means you might not be able to invest for the moment until you have paid off all your debts. If you want to achieve something in 5 years, looking at your income and your expenses, a budget is able to help you realize that goal in a time frame that is meaningful to you as an individual. So even as you start off to set your budget, list down what are your goals and break them down. 5 years from now, what do you want to be able to accomplish? And the second thing you need to do is start tracking. Track your income, first of all. How much money do you bring in every year? Some of us have more than one source of income. You have your day job, then you have gig 1, you have gig 2, you have side hustle 3. So all those are good forms of increasing your income. Now start tracking. And then also setting realistic projections. How much do you want to make this year when it comes to your side hustle A? How much can side hustle B bring in? So that even as the days progress, as the months progress, you're making realistic steps towards increasing that income. So it's very important to track your income. That is the first thing. So once you have tracked your income, then you start tracking your expenses. Now that the money comes in, where does the money go? So once you have tracked your expenses, categorize them into wants and needs. What are those things I cannot do without? You cannot do without transportation because you need to go to work. You cannot do without a roof over your head, so rent money cannot be a want. You cannot do without food because you need to be able to survive and live. If you have young children, you cannot do without school fees. You cannot do without health care. So after listing those categories of the things you can't do without, then now you look at the things you can do without, right? So these are your wants. Things like, going out with your friends. Things like buying clothes every month. You don't need to. Things like buying shoes every month. Things like upgrading your phone every year, especially if that phone does not contribute to bringing your income. So once you've categorized your wants, you've categorized your need, the next step needs to be, okay, using my wants, especially the wants, how can I be able to redeem more money that can go into my savings and my investments? So then you set your investment goals. Let's say by the end of the year, I need to have 5 million Ugandan shillings in my investment account, right? Where is this money going to come from? One, it can either come from all my side gigs, it can either come from getting a promotion, or it can come from reducing my wants. So the money that you reduce should not go into another inflated lifestyle. Now you feel like you need to go into a bigger apartment space. No, simply redirect that money into your savings and your investment goals. Also, as you're creating a budget, please prioritize your emergency fund. Every month, make sure you have a buffer of money that stays behind. In case of anything that comes, you're able to cover that need without going into debt. The reason most people go into debt in the first place is because they have not planned for the unexpected. So in your budget, have a buffer for what is unexpected. Every time you cover what is unexpected, it not only gives you a sense of financial peace, but it also makes you more confident in knowing that you're managing your money. You also need to ensure that you're reviewing and adjusting your budget because things change. I have seen this especially when it comes to food prices. You may set your budget at 300,000 shillings, Uganda, per month goes to food. But then you realize that the food prices have gone up. You cannot stay rigid and say, no, me, I budgeted for 300 Ugandan shillings. Their common sense has to kick in. It means that now, depending on how the inflation is or how the prices have gone up, you should be able to increase the food budget. So that's why we mean adjust and review accordingly. So a budget is not static. No, it should be able to fit your needs and speak to your current situation. So with all this knowledge, what are some of the tools that you can be able to use for budgeting? The quickest and easiest tool is Excel. If you know how to use Excel, you can be able to go and create a simple budget that works for you, put in the formulas that you need, and make sure that you're tracking your income on a monthly level. If you're a bit upgraded, you like technology, there are many apps online that you can be able to download onto your phone, and then you can be able to track. The goal is to find something that can help you track your income, that can help you track your expenses. If there are also tools, every investment platform that we use, there is a way that you can be able to track your investment portfolio and be able to see the growth, whether you're investing actively or passively. If technology is too much for you, that is still okay. You can get a book. You can get a notebook, a hard paper book, and let that book be your budgeting book where you track your income and your expenses. So after all, you see, budgeting is not that hard. It simply makes you aware of the decisions you have to make, and also makes you aware of the compromises that you have to make. And ultimately, it gives you peace. It does give you peace.